Virtually identical. Welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk episode 51, brought to you as always by MMAmix.com. They're obviously good. I'm not giving these a chance because they're with Obviously Fight Talk. And to Fight Star Ireland, the fighter's choice. Everything you need under one roof, be it testicle holders, shin guards, gloves, the best of gear. Check them out, give them a like on Facebook, share the page, and tell them the lads from Obviously Fight Talk sent you. I'm joined, as always, by We Cancel His Show If He's Not Here, #OneJobRob.
Thanks for having me, man.
Mr. Dependable.
Yeah.
I like to call him.
Yeah. You're very welcome, Rob.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to have you. And,
I'm not stressed at all, by the way.
no, Big Daddy, crazy,
Dirty.
Carl Doran.
Starting to feel that name's probably going to stick at some point.
Yeah, and do you know what it is? You're starting to become a regular on the show now.
Yeah,
This is
Three
weird,
shows
isn't it?
in a row.
Three
What's
shows.
that?
Very weird.
Yeah, and of course I am the obnoxiously loud Noel. So this week, we're not sure about your show rundown, but your show rundown, we'll be talking a little bit about Bellator 170, the recap and the fix. We'll be talking your Obviously Fight Talk Quickfire news. We're hoping to have Lloyd Chopper Manning on and Oli the Spartan Thompson.
Yeah.
We'll also speak a little bit about the card coming up at the weekend for UFC Denver. So lads, let's jump into it straight away and get your quickfire news. So according to Dave Meltzer of MMAfighting.com, the UFC had its biggest year in 2016 in pay-per-views with a figure of 8.3 million boys in just 13 shows this year. Also, the UFC and the sport of MMA is the first sport to ever have broken 1 million mark in 5 events in 1 year. So a pretty successful year for the UFC and MMA in general in 2016. So what's the thoughts on that one, Doran?
Well, it looks great on paper. Dave Meltzer in that article pretty much, true, it's on the phone. But, figure of speech. Meltzer himself in the article said, like, it's kind of bittersweet because it's really shown that what's given those boys is star power rather than actual, love of the art, I suppose.
Yeah.
We have a bit of interference. So, like, the biggest... Do you know what the biggest shows were? I assume you know.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor.
196, 200.
And 202.
And 202.
And New York.
And New York, was that? Yeah, it was this year. That's the 4 big shows.
So Diaz, Conor and Diaz 1 and 2 were on the list.
Yeah.
I think Diaz 2 was the biggest with 1.6.
Yeah. I think 200 was close. Was it? Was it 200 that was close?
200 came in at third.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Actually, and
What was the other?
I can't remember what was fourth. I'm not too sure. But fifth, surprisingly, the lowest was 205 in New York. I was actually very surprised by that. The reason why it's very bittersweet is because that card was absolutely stacked.
It was stacked, yeah.
And that was slated to break the 2 million mark.
Yeah.
And it barely scraped a million. It just made a million. Like,
that's crazy.
yeah, it's very, very surprising. But again, now you kind
Is this
of...
the Obviously Quickfire 2 minutes Carl Doran round, is it?
This
None of yous are talking about it.
Let's add a minute news.
Yeah, none of yous are talking about it. I have to keep this show running.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now you kind of hinted at it earlier. You were saying like that because of the 205 card, how shallow the next few events are going to be.
Yeah. I think 2017 is going to suffer for the joy that 2016 had. I think a lot of the big stars this year as well, like the talk we all know, Conor taking time off and stuff like that. And I just think the big pulling stars are, they're few and far between now. So as much as 2016 was absolutely amazing, I think 2017 will be a little lackluster. Like, you look at it, here we are now, it's the 23rd of January, and we haven't had a
huge fight announcement. Yeah.
So it's interesting. Like, I know with the next article we will mention a champion finally being matched for the year. But yeah, it's a big year for the UFC with the new owners as well. They're in. It's like when a new football manager, there's me analogies, Carl, comes in. He wants, he comes in before the transfer window. You know what I mean? So he's now getting to adopt his style. So it'll be interesting to see the changes that the new ownership brings to the UFC. And for me, they're going down the sort of more entertainment route than to turn up and fights.
Well, the figure suggests that.
Yeah.
So you can only go with
but
the facts.
The one thing I will say is, imagine how much WME want Ronda Rousey back and want Conor to fight, and hopefully that leads to them trying to pay fighters more. Probably not, but hopefully that leads to them wanting to, you know, give them more money, get them
He's
back.
He's forgetting the rules of this game. Shut up.
Yeah.
Your
But,
thing's gone. Yeah.
No, just one more
No.
thing. Right now, fuck you.
Go on.
Right now,
No.
right now is the time to try and be a breakout star.
Yeah, big
because
time, yeah.
the contracts and the money you're going to get if you can be that breakout star is going to be bigger than ever because they're looking for one.
I'm glad I let you say that piece because you were right in that. So the rematch between welterweight champion Tyron Woodley and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson has officially been announced for UFC 209. So this is what we said. None of the champions have been matched, and now here's a big champion getting matched. So the rematch. Are we happy with the rematch? We've talked about this a little bit previously, but you know, I think we all knew this was coming. This match. So what's the thoughts initially? Is it the right fight for the welterweight division?
Yeah, I think so. I think for the most part, unless it was a terrible fight, unless it's not really wanted, unless people don't want to see it, I think if you draw on a title fight, I do think it should be a rematch. Especially if the consensus is, it was a fairly close fight. So yeah, it seems like it was an unresolved thing. I do want to see it again. I think it's I do want to see Damian Maia get the shot, but I think it is a slightly more exciting fight than the Damian Maia fight for the casual fans. For me, I would love to see if Damian Maia could beat Woodley. But I think it's the right decision. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, business-wise, this was on the first match was on the 205 card.
Yeah.
We just said that it didn't break. It barely broke the million mark, but it's still a very successful card.
And Maia would do less.
Yeah, it would do less. And this is UFC 209. It already has Tony Ferguson and Khabib on it. If you're looking to build stars, you put this rematch on. It's already publicised. You put it as the main event. People are going to see the grudge between Tony and Khabib then. They're going to be interested in the card. Them two fighters then have to go on and basically fight. You'd imagine Conor McGregor, he's the champion. So that means then you've built the profile of those two fighters there, because it's going to be on this card. So yeah, it makes complete sense.
Yeah, for me, I just think it had to happen. The first fight was such a good fight that the rematch had to happen. It was weird. They were on like some UFC TV show and they were doing what's that shit when you say film? What's the charades? And Wonderboy and Thompson, or Wonderboy and Woodley were fucking together. They were on the same team, if you know what I mean, and he's doing all these fucking, he does the McGregor walk and he does Sage Northcutt side and they're high-fiving and all. It's just weird, like whatever.
That's the weird thing though. They don't not that I don't see why people think it's weird. Like they're fighters, we don't have to hate each other. Like they don't have to.
Look, some fighters require that to do.
They require, and I think some people try to put that on, and they have tried to put it on. They've you know.
So they laughed when they square off against them.
Yeah, but they've also kind of tried to build that rivalry because they know that's what people are interested in. People want to see people who hate each other because they want to see a fight at the end. That's
sort of my point as well about the new owners. It seems to be going down that way. Like MMA has gone, it goes through, I think, evolutions in different stages, and it's like that now. Yeah, there's the creation of the heel. You have to be, there's the bad guy and the good guy.
That was always around. I honestly think at the start of it, it was like in the UFC, it was kind of freak showy, but it was more sporting because they were trying to figure out who was the best. But then it kind of moved to like the Tank Abbott's and all that kind of stuff, and even the early days had that. But I think the middle part was probably the more sporting. But it's prize fighting. It's always been like that. Same with everything. Yeah. We'll move on.
I'm freelancing this one because we didn't have it wrote down. So Amanda Nunes has come out as well and said that she's looking to retire after the next 2 or 3 fights because she wants to have a family. So that's basically it. But I just think that with this, you know, with the you were saying they want Ronda to come back and stuff like that. So if you honestly look at it in that sense, you know, they need a champion to
give us the bell.
What? They need a champion to build it around. You know what I mean? That it's being passed around since Ronda lost. It was being passed around, and we know Amanda has defended it. So you know they need somebody to build the division behind because the big absence of Ronda, and even like you the fight with Holly Holm coming up as well. That's the only 2 145ers in the UFC at the moment, if I'm right, correct, with the women's division. So. It's weird that Amanda Nunes is doing this. She holds the title at the moment. The UFC, I wonder if they knew maybe about this and this is why so much promotion wasn't put into behind her. If you know what I mean.
Conspiracies.
Here we go, conspiracy. No, but you know what I mean. It's just from that. It's a weird angle for Amanda Nunes. Come on, like if she wants to retire, by all means. But it's not good news for the UFC. They want to build a champion.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Could also be a power play from Amanda Nunes. If you want me to stay, I want more money.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Basically, that could be a power play. She's for lack of better explanation, she's literally gone balls against the wall.
Yeah, like you could see,
or flaps against the wall.
Fucking hell. You could see after her last fight, she was calling for the super fights. Maybe that's the angle she's going for. She's going to say, maybe you want me to defend this title a couple of times because you want a strong champion or you want to build this division, but I'm leaving after 2 or 3 fights. Why don't you make some money off me? Put me in them super fights. Maybe it is a power play. That's actually a very good point. Well done, Carl.
Also, if she does go to 145 and the UFC get, is it Megan Anderson?
Megan Anderson,
Megan Anderson from Invicta. She's the new 145 champion.
Beast.
That girl could be a fucking star.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested. Yeah, I'd be interested to see that fight.
Yeah, me too. Definitely.
Yeah. Right, just again, this is me off the cuff because I'm just feeling it. You brought up a point there, so I thought, fuck it, we'll make this a question.
I'm liking it.
See this thing about I want to fight because Conor won a belt 2 times, and the whole super fight thing, as in Biz being mounting off with Woodley and all. Do you think this is just posing, or like we crave for a long time super fights, right? We always thought, we could have seen GSP and Anderson Silva, and we could have done all these things, but now it's just everyone wants to jump out of their division. Like, what's your standpoint? Because I know you are very strong, Carl, in McGregor's a paper champion. He's never defended his belt.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion on these like newly crowned champions? Now, fair enough, Woodley's now being matched and he's defending his belt. But Amanda Nunes talked about a fight. Bisbing has talked about a fight outside. Even McGregor, there's talk about him fighting Mayweather, or there's talk about him fighting Woodley as well. Obviously not now. But what's your thought on the champion? The champion surely has to defend his belt.
Yeah, I'd agree, definitely. But I also like to see super fights.
Yeah.
Are they super fights? That's my thing. Just because it's a guy from the division above versus a guy from the division below, does that qualify as a super fight?
So,
potentially.
So?
No, I mean, that's a good point, yeah.
Potentially. It really, super fights, their reputation.
Yeah.
That's it. If you had Conor McGregor versus, let's just say, GSP, will never happen, but let's just say it's first two of my favourite fighters. So,
you GSP fan?
Yeah, you would have never known.
Never voiced it.
So like that's a super fight because they're the pure reputation of both fighters. Whereas if you were to have somebody down the card going into another weight class, which happens all the time, like look at Tim Bosch going to middleweight. Yeah. So you drop down to middleweight, like. It's not. It's not.
No disrespect to Tim Bosch, but Tim Bosch, I've never heard super fight and Tim Bosch in the same sentence.
Exactly. And
love Tim Bosch though.
Tim Bosch.
That's just naming all his favourite fighters.
Yeah, I know. Damien Maya.
They're the first people that come to mind, obviously. But it really depends on reputation. And I think a super fight for Amanda Nunes to go to 145, she needs to build her reputation at 135, or even build her star power for that's even a better term again. And if she does that, then going to 145, doesn't matter who she fights, then it is a super fight. But it can't just be somebody that's not really known jumping into another division, going for a title or whatever.
The title of super fight, it's very ambiguous. There's no definition for it. If you type in super fight, what's it mean? There's no actual definition. So I think you're right. I think either you have to have both of box office power, you need to be a big star, and you also need to be a very, very talented fighter who has had a good career in your division. But I think as well you can have one or the other. So Conor, he had really good success in the division, hasn't defended his title that much, but still a super fight because
he's never defended his title.
Yeah, he hasn't defended his title.
Love you, Conor.
Leave like that. But he's a huge star, so it's a super fight if he moves up for another title. Same with the likes of Demetrius Johnson. Not a huge star, but he's done so much in that division. He's such a good champion. No one can beat him at this point. At this moment, no one has beat him. So that's a super fight. But I don't think, you win the title and just because you're champion you move up, that's a super fight. I don't think that is a super fight.
So one fight that was it's rumoured to be confirmed, I don't know, it was officially confirmed, was Johnny Hendricks and Hector Lombard. So Johnny Hendricks is moving up to middleweight. Is that a super fight?
No.
Former champion?
No.
But that's just the example I'm using.
And it's a very good example.
Just because lads are moving up.
Although the way the UFC are promoting interim title
probably
fights,
for an interim,
they're going to super fight and everything.
Yeah, it's going to be for the catchweight interim title.
Yeah. They're going to have former fucking tough semi-finalists versus this guy.
Yeah.
Super fight.
Now,
Super fight.
as a MMA fan, I'm interested to see how Hendricks looks at middleweight.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
Imagine he didn't make weight.
But
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, could you imagine? Imagine you didn't. You'd have to sack him, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd have to. But yeah, I imagine he's gonna make weight. I'd be shocked. If he fucking
That's a
shocked.
problem though. If you're saying
if you could put a bet on someone making weight, put a bet on that, because
yeah,
that's
like
a good
but
bet.
if a guy who's like not a big middleweight moves up to middleweight from welterweight, and you were going, well, I imagine he's gonna make weight. That's a problem.
Hector Lombard's a perfect fight though, because Hector Lombard isn't big.
Yeah.
He's just gigantic.
He's just jacked.
He's just gigantic.
But he's not
in
tall.
all- he's gigantic in all other directions.
Yeah.
except
yeah.
up.
Well, come here. Are you surprised that Hendricks is getting another shot? Because he's 3-0 in the last 3
I
fights.
think the fact he was a champion is really keeping him there. You know.
And his damn overheady was it? Dan said shave his beard off. That's a pound or two. I'm like, what the fuck do you have in your beard, overheady?
Yeah.
To be fair, it's a lot of hair.
Whatever.
Shave his balls, maybe.
I see Carl is this, but I want to talk about it later because it relates to
Yeah.
Bellator.
Leave it out then. Talk about it later.
Yeah. Now we're just pausing and people are going, what the fuck's going on here? Yeah, so we're due to be getting phone calls and stuff here as well. So this is a bit... So we're going to go to wow section, then we'll be back with the next... Either a guest or the next subject. Nice one. And welcome back, and unfortunately, as with the wonderful world of Skype and communication, we're just ringing there and we're just not getting Lloyd there at the moment. So hopefully Lloyd, if we can get through to him, we'll be on as we move on the show there. So what we're going to do is we are going to move on. We're going to speak a little bit about Bellator 170 that went down this week. So this was originally including in the Quickfire news, and 10 points for people listening to the show who figured out who wrote this piece of the news. So we're starting the hashtag Fixgate. Speculation and conspiracy theories are as rampant as Syrian refugees fleeing to Europe surrounding the bout between Tito Ortiz and Chael Sonnen at Bellator 170. Many people are referencing a clip of a fight of when Sonnen had a dash choke on Tito early in the first, and many have said that you can see Tito tap Chael's arm, and from there Sonnen basically let go of the choke. So that was our main event. So the big fight, the big build up, the only person I know who's made money from her mouth is your ex-wife and all that sort of stuff. All the hype, all the talk. Main event starts off. What do we think of the fight, first of all? Let's start at that angle.
Bit sloppy. A little bit sloppy. You know, I think that was kind of to be expected from the get-go. The two lads, you know, they're way past their prime. Chael's been caught out for peds in the past, and, you know, this time you assume he wasn't on them. He was tested, I think he said, 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
At one point he was tested while he was sitting cage side at an event. I think he was doing commentary and he was tested.
No way.
Yeah,
That's
he
amazing.
said that on the MMA or Hawani. So yeah, it just started out weird. You know, it wasn't as
I thought Tito hut Chael in the first exchange. He sort of landed
Their
big right.
hand, big
Yeah.
right straight down the middle.
And even like the body kick then that Tito threw after it was a bit sloppy and it looked slow and lethargic for the first three. Yeah, but I seen it coming and I dodged it in Ballybrack like. So so yeah, and then when the exchange, now let's get to the fucking numbskull of it, right? Tito went for the takedown. Chael followed off. Chael got into a north-south position and was working to the dash choke. Now, Rob will tell you, and I would agree, it wasn't sunk, it wasn't deep, but he was certainly working to it. And then there was a little Tito done the little signature of tap, went. Chael let go and changed position instantly. From that, Chael then went for a guillotine and pulled it into guard. Did he pull into guard to go for the guillotine? And
he tried to pull guard. It looked like he tried to get one underhook to try maybe go for a mount. He was probably going to try to sweep him into mount. But yeah, he pulled guard. Basically, Tito done well. He kind of transitioned over the top and then got on top.
And then Tito got into full mount, landed a nice few elbows. Now, in fairness,
nice mount too.
Tito was known for his ground and pound. In fairness, Chael turned, back was given, didn't fight the choke whatsoever. At one stage, looked like he placed the Tito. No, your arm's in the wrong position, Tito, and pulled it down. Wasn't under the chin. Doesn't necessarily have to be under the chin for a crank, so we all understand that. But I thought Chael tapped way too easy. Tito, fair play to him to keep the Oscar going, held on too long. John McCarthy probably landed the best shot of the fight by pushing Tito's face down and away. And Tito Ortiz retired with the win. And the bad guy lost.
Yeah.
Was it a fix?
I was waiting for you just to get to the actual thing you wanted to say.
Yeah, so before we give our 2 cents, I'll just read something out real quick.
Yeah. The only prepared one.
Yeah.
On the show.
Yeah, because, funny enough, I done everything today.
Yeah.
Strange. It's a hard job, man. I don't envy you. Shaking his head now. So this quote is by Luke Thomas of MMAfighting.com, and this was on his Facebook page on the 22nd of January.
What time?
1906.
Very good. Was that American time or?
No, that's
ahead,
Irish
sorry.
time.
Irish time.
It's Irish time, yeah.
What's that in American time, just so we know for reference?
I don't know. I don't
That
even
East
know.
Coast or West Coast?
That'd
Yeah,
be
Pacific.
East Coast, yeah. So
Is
that's,
East?
that's
Just
New
say
York,
the thing.
yeah. So this is the quote. Legitimately, I'm asking politely to please unlike this page if you think there was a fight thrown last night. Certainly anything is possible, but the goofies of Pruder film people are sharing is embarrassing and not only fails to prove what it purports to show, it demonstrates the opposite of its intended meaning. I cannot stand irresponsible conspiracy theories, and this is not a place that will ever be welcome to them. I ask that if it's something you want to discuss or take seriously, do it far away from here. No. That's not his quote, that's my quote. Do we think...
Sorry,
like Luke...
Just unliking Luke Thompson. Sorry about that. Just for a few minutes while I talk about this.
Like, Luke... I love Luke Thomas.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
I'm a very big fan. You actually tore me on to him, and in the beginning I couldn't stand him because he always had a cold.
Sounded wrong.
Yeah, didn't it?
Yeah, actually,
Tore
yeah.
me on to
Tore me on to him. I still get an erection watching him, but still. Yeah, so... And some people would say about Luke that he's a contrarian and that he tries to say stuff outside the bounds of like what would be expected to say just for shock value or whatever. I don't think that's the case. I genuinely think Luke Thomas thinks very differently about mixed martial arts, and I love the way his mind works. But in this case, do you think it's more of a disservice to fans for him not to want to talk about the fact that this could be a fix? Like, I'm not saying that fight was a fix.
Yeah.
But he said it himself, there is a possibility, but the fact that he's even refusing to flat out talk about it, does that mean that like it wasn't a fix?
Yeah.
You know?
For me, I don't think it was a fix. I do think that, it should be discussed because it did look a little bit dodgy, and I did say that when you posted it on Facebook, and I had a look and the little tap, and even when I was watching it, I was like, this is a bit weird, especially the choke. Now I do think that's probably a 220-pound man on a guy who's probably should be fighting at middleweight, and he probably has a serious squeeze. I'm sure Tito has a serious squeeze, so I'm sure that was painful, and I don't dispute it. But I do think it's a bit silly not to acknowledge that it did look a bit strange.
Yeah.
I do think it did look a bit strange. For me, the reason why I don't think it was a fix was because I think it's difficult to fix fights, but I think...
Now, here's the thing I'd say as well, though, right?
I have two things first.
Fuck's sake.
First thing is, I don't think that's how you would fix a fight. I think if you were going to fix a fight, you wouldn't land that big right hand, which clearly landed. Yeah. That was a clear a landed punch and a good shot, and that hurt him.
Yeah.
On the ground, I don't know why you'd use any kind of signalling, like predetermined signalling that would kind of show people, maybe this is a fix. You just say, all right, I'm going to get into mount, and then I'll give up the position. You don't have to tap me, like.
Yeah, there's microphones everywhere, though, that pick that shit up.
Yeah, but like you don't have to say it. But if they were going to fix it, just me and Carl are having a fight and we're going to fix it. Before the fight, I go, okay, I'm going to let you win the fight for whatever reason. We're going to fix this fight. I'm going to get you down.
Forcefully.
I'm going to go in for a submission.
Forcefully, it wouldn't be a fix, I'd bait you.
Yeah. I'm going to get you on the ground. I'm going to go for a submission. I'm going to give up the position, and then you're going to get on top and do whatever. I wouldn't say, okay, then when you want to do it, you tap me.
Yeah,
I don't
hold
see
on.
the reason for
what
that.
If Chael, the choke was on a bit?
What do you mean?
What if the Darce was a bit tight?
And Tito was like, hang on, Joe.
Yeah, you have to fuck.
Darce wasn't tight. He had like a little neck lock.
Chael could have a good squeeze.
That wasn't tight. Come on.
Right. Anyway, I'm going to quote, like Carl. I'm going to quote what is many consider one of the best fight analysts in the world.
Thanks. I said it wasn't fixed.
Dan Hardy at Dan Hardy MMA said the Bellator 170 main event was more I can't say that word. I can never say that word. Choreographed. Can't say it. Choreographed than a Britney Spears music video. Shame, really. It might have been fun. To which somebody replied to him going, surely Bellator would want Cheick to win though. He said he works for and is invested in Bellator, so his income is based on the success of the promotion, not of his fight. Now that's, for me, I think that is an interesting fact. And then again, what I just want to say in regards to the fight is when it started and they were exchanging and when it went to the ground, Chael Sonnen, he mightn't be the greatest mixed martial artist in the world, he gets tapped out a fair bit and whatever, right? I like Chael, he talks shit and whatever, you just take it with a pinch of salt, everything he says. But he is a high level grappler and wrestler, and he wouldn't give up that position so easily. That position was given up so easy after the tap, and he went like. When I seen him in that position, I thought that's it. Tito's done.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think if you look at the position, he was going for a Darce choke, and I don't think he had the range. I don't think he could get it in. You could see it was basically on a Darce choke. You want to be really tight.
Yeah, Rob's pointing to his forearm.
Yeah, on a Darce choke, you want to be really tight, and he was like on here.
I know he did get it up to his bicep.
But it was kind of like this. If you actually watch it, it was like he didn't actually have the full grip. It was like this, and he was trying to do it.
I don't know. I think you're remembering that wrong.
Rewatch it again. It's not
Thanks,
tight. He's holding it like this.
I'll have to rewatch it.
Rewatch it again. He's holding like that, and then he changed position to go for that, and then he goes to try to take his back, and Tito done the right thing and stopped the back take, and then Chael went back into the same position and then pulled for the guillotine. I think it was a bad decision for him to go for that, but I don't see any. I don't see it as I think he was going for his back.
I don't
think he had the choke.
Anything is possible.
Yeah.
With the fight, to be fair, with Chael Sonnen, you have to take everything he says and does with a pinch of salt.
Oh yeah.
He's been proven in the past to be a cheater, and Chael himself will say he's, by those standards, he's a cheater. And he also had criminal charges against him for stuff.
Yeah. When he was selling houses and
stuff. So like, I think Chael does for me, I love Chael Sonnen, but there's a lot of stuff about his background that you'd say he's a person that will take a risk, and for me personally, I think that it's not out of realm of possibility for Chael to go, actually, I don't mind fixing a fight. Based on past transgressions.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the only. I've never met Chael or anything like that. I don't know him.
Tito's takedown was terrible, wasn't it? Single. He goes in for it like a man with a bad back, fucking picking up a penny.
I'm sure he does.
Well, there you go. He's probably a man with a bad back.
Yeah.
Like here we are now. Look, there's the Darce. We're watching it here now. So he's in the north-south position.
Watch the choke.
Yeah, right. So watch Tito.
It's not tight. He can't fully get it in. Change his back.
So he's on a sort of a gable grip there at the moment. Now he's up to the bicep.
It's not
right
there.
It's not true. It's not.
He has.
He straps it there. No, he didn't have it, but the tap is
two fingers through.
Yeah, the tap. But he could have just.
He doesn't have enough leverage on it.
Right. So let's look at it from the other one. Why the fuck did Tito tap? Why did he tap?
He tapped his own glove though.
It
looked very weird, but he tapped his own glove.
No, but there's lads that when they're Chael himself tapped his hand when he was tapping out. I think they're like fighters have tapped. Just because you tap yourself doesn't mean you're tapping. You're not tapping.
It did, like when you zoom in on
John
it,
McCarthy sees that. Does he stop the fight?
I don't know. I don't think so. Like,
if only we had a referee who could tell us these things.
We can ask him. Like for me, it was kind of like it was really small, kind of. I don't know what it was.
So what? It has to be exaggerated tap. A tap is a tap.
Yeah, look at Chael's tap.
Yeah, but for me, it just didn't look like a tap. It didn't look like he was tapping. Like it just didn't. There was a little kind of hand movement.
Let's move away from the it's fixed.
Very heated.
Let's move away from it's fixed. You can't deny he tapped. He 100% tapped. He made the tap and he done that. That's a tap.
A tap in motion.
Tap-a-roo.
I love the way you went. That's a tap.
There was definitely a tap in motion.
There was a tap in motion.
Yeah,
just tap it in. Tap-a-roo.
I sound like a politician or something.
Yeah.
There was a tapping motion, but I don't believe it was a tap.
Here it is. Well, this is a tap, Carl. Look at this. Watch.
Nobody can see this though.
Yeah, we're talking about it. Watch it on YouTube. There it is. And look. Tap.
It's very minuscule.
It's
very minuscule.
It is.
It's
They're grasping
very
straws.
minuscule.
No, it does look a bit strange, and I do agree. But I think we should move. No one's leaving. I think we should move on and get off the conspiracies. But I do think it's very. It does look very strange, and I do agree with Carl that questioning it isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
But saying it's definitely a yoke without actually talking about it and discussing it and whatever. Yeah.
Well, look, the way I look at it is, if the tap is what fucked it for me. When I seen the tap, I'm like, what the fuck is he making that motion for? That's stupid. It reminded me. Remember Couture when he fought Ortiz? He started spanking him in the bum, and Ortiz tried to say he tapped.
Yeah, that guy.
So moving on, or I should say moving back, because it was the co-main event. I don't have it backwards, it's a bit annoying. We had Paul Daly beating, what's he called? Brennan Ward. Irish Brennan Ward. What a finish. Everyone's talking about the flying knee, and rightly so, but the spinning elbow off the cage and clinch.
That's one thing that we were.
It reminded me. It was an elbow, but not a knee, but it reminded me of Aldo. Against,
kind of.
Chad Mendes.
Yeah.
It was a fucking crazy finish.
It was amazing.
It was a good fight as well. Ward was like in the fight. You know what I mean? He took Daly down a few times. Daly done well to get back to his feet. Like the exchange, like Brendan Ward had heavy hands. You know what I mean? He was landing.
Big puncher,
Someone was going out, like, and it was just when he spun and he caught him, you could see Ward sort of went off balance, and that sort of opened it up. Like, I think if Ward was fresh there, for example, that flying knee wouldn't have went for it. You know what I mean? It was the elbow to set up. Now, hopefully, Ward, I haven't seen anything about it, but Ward was stretchered out after the bout, and he had a serious cut on the side of his face. Nasty, Paul Daly, are we going to say what's next for Paul Daly? He's called out Rory McDonald.
Yeah,
it's a good call out.
I like that.
That's a great call out, because Rory McDonald now, he's gone into Bellator. You'd imagine that he's going to be their golden boy.
Yeah,
they're going to want to push him, and if Paul Daly gets that fight against Rory, also it's an amazing fight. I want to see that fight. But yeah, that's a great call out. Just well done to Paul Daly. He's doing what he has to do.
I think it's probably the best we've seen Paul Daly in a while. It was a good fight. It wasn't just a finish. He actually looked pretty good in the fight. Ward looked good up until the end as well. But I do like that fight as well. And I hope they make that one. I really hope they make that one, because that could be a really, really exciting fight. And it's a good test for Rory coming in. If they don't make the title fight, I think that's a good
with that fight, Daly, right? Daly's known as the powerhouse hitter and stuff like that. So I honestly think I seen people saying, "Oh, it's a pity that Daly can't fight in the UFC again" and all that. Like, I think that's definitely not that option mightn't be closed at this stage, especially
new owners.
If he had new owners, and if he was to go out and land big and put away Rory McDonald, let's say, you know what I mean, the UFC could be clamouring. But like when we spoke to Scott Coker at Bellator, he was saying like that division is stacked. You know what I mean? There's so many options there, and Daly has definitely put himself in the mix there. But the actual fight with McDonald, I think McDonald, he'd be a lot smarter with his takedowns. I don't think he'd stand and trade with Daly, because when you look, you know, it's pick your poison in that sense, and I just think McDonald has the advantage on the mat.
Yeah, he's way more well rounded.
Yeah.
But I think
Paul Daly, though, what a fucking shot, man.
But I think with that fight, I think just because Paul Daly has such a good stand-up game, it's a very good test for Rory, because, you know, he excels in one spot, so we can see how Rory deals with that. But I think that's a brilliant fight. It's
a pity it's only 23 days into 2017, because if that had been later in the year, you're probably looking at knockout of the year.
Yeah.
So there's so much time between then and next December. That
I think you tweeted that, did you? Or you've done something?
Yeah. It's like, if you know, it's too early to say it is going to be knockout of the year. Obviously, it's way too early. But if it's not top 5, holy shit, it's going to be out there, man. Before we move on, because I got a message from Oli Thompson there, so hopefully we can get him on. We're just having a little bit of, not even trouble, but we're trying to get people on Skype. It's difficult. There was a couple of other fights on the card which stood out. Some for bad reasons, some for good reasons. I'm not sure if any has seen the fights.
I've seen some of the gifts and knockouts. I was just looking at it. There was 10 TKOs or KOs on the card.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Halleck Gracie versus Kato or Kato, whatever you say his name.
I didn't see
stinker.
It.
Was it?
Oh, it was a stinker.
Was it
Why?
bad?
It was very, very bad. Gracie's a jiu-jitsu guy. Couldn't get him on the floor. It was just kind of a sloppy stand-up fight.
It just was bad, was it?
Yeah, there's a bit of grappling.
Did you see
got him on the ground a couple
Bas
of times.
Rutten was telling a story on Rogan there the other week, and he was saying he was wherever he was, he seen this gym and he went to Inches to do a bit of training, and your man was like, oh yeah, you know, do you want to do some work on the mats? And he was like, yeah, sweet, whatever, you know, what you got, like, whatever. He says, oh, I'm a Gracie. I was like, oh, you're a Gracie, what Gracie? Oh no, I married a Gracie. You're not a fucking Gracie. Yeah, weird.
That's painful. Jesus.
Yeah, so Bellator, like, some serious knockouts in it. Like, check them out. It's going to be on UK Spike next Saturday, I think, is
so,
it?
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth your while
it,
watching. And like, if
nice
you haven't,
body shot by Henry Corrales.
In fairness, if you go on Facebook or even YouTube, you will see the fights. MMAcore.com.
Kevin Casey made his debut. Have you seen his record? I've seen it on Reddit today. It's just a strange, weird run. He has no contest, win, no contest, loss, draw, loss, draw.
Jesus Christ.
Isn't that a very strange run of fights?
That's another
draws,
man
no
there
contest.
that, like, his claim to fame is he's married to...
In Ali.
In Ali. Like,
Yeah.
That's, we're just talking about that. Like, obviously that, and he's obviously a very good fighter.
Good fighter.
To be fair, he's better than me. I've never fought in the UFC or Bellator.
Yeah.
So,
And you're decent.
And like,
So,
Carl, your time will come.
Yeah.
You be patient. You keep going to camp with Edmund and you show them how to fight. You'll be grand. Did you see that gif of the fucking lads in the crowd going, and it pass down and it's Ronda going, That's actually news, actually. See fucking Bigfoot. What's it? Not Bigfoot, obviously his name. Travis Brown has changed camp as well.
He's left finally.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I'm a big Travis Brown fan. Unfortunately, he went to Edmonds.
I think who are you not a big fan of? Misha Tate.
Brian Caraway.
There's a trend.
And probably every member of their family. There's definitely BJ Penn is someone that I'm not fond of. I'll have to make a list.
He has respect for it, but he's not fond of.
No, I definitely have respect, but I just don't like him. There's plenty of people out there that I don't like. I can make a list and come in with you because it's going to be a long list.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people.
Like a fucking scroll.
I usually sit there
door.
and just scream at the telly, I fucking hate that cunt.
Yeah.
That's about it. But like, it never gets personal. I just don't.
I hope that's not when you're watching Don't Tell the Bride, is it?
No, I'm talking about his missus, not him.
Not kill, man. Not kill.
We'll edit that. No, we won't.
Edit that. Get that out. Right, so enjoy it.
I'll be back hopefully with Oli Thompson if we get Skype.
If not, we're just going to ring somebody. Pretend it's Oli Thompson. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and I'm delighted to say we are now joined by the Spartan Oli Thompson, the owner of a record of 17 wins with 9 defeats, who is scheduled to fight Cheick Kongo at Bellator 172, the Fedor Mitrione card that goes down on the 18th of February 2017. So Oli, thanks a million for taking the time to come on to obviously Fight Talk, and welcome.
Pleasure.
So let's get into it straight away. A big fight, Cheick Kongo. You're fighting on a big card that a lot of the world will be looking at, sharing it with Fedor. So let's talk to us about Cheick Kongo. Is this a fight you're looking forward to getting in there?
Yes, it's not a fight that I was expecting, so it come out of the blue. But I wasn't going to turn down a fight of this magnitude. He's one of the top guys, maybe the top guy in the company, a heavyweight. If you look at his record there, he's got a great record in Bellator. And he's very experienced, very well known, and so the stakes are high, and there's a lot at stake and a lot to gain for me potentially in the fight.
We almost expecting to get somebody coming off a loss because you lost your last fight. Is that why you were surprised by the fight?
Well, maybe Cheick's on a winning run, and I lost my last one. Me and Cheick are friends, if you like.
Yeah.
But it's his business. That's not a problem. I wasn't hoping for someone off of a loss, but I thought that maybe that was the position that I was going to be in to build up. But thankfully, I came into Mitrione off a 5-fight win streak with some good wins, and the Mitrione loss hasn't really hurt me very much because I took it on 2 weeks' notice and gave it what I thought was a good fight.
And this is 2 big fights now for you in a row. Mitrione, obviously a big name, coming from the UFC, same with Cheick Kongo. Do you almost think the Cheick Kongo fight's even bigger than Mitrione, or how would you kind of rank those two?
It's the biggest fight is always the next one, of course. I see the fight as a bigger one. Cheick's been around for the game for quite a long time. He's been in Bellator for a long time. He's not been stopped in Bellator. I think he's 6-2 with 2 tough decision losses and 6 wins. And it's a bigger fight because I can go in and represent myself with fitness and preparation, as opposed to the Mitrione fight where I had to go in there quite gung-ho and try and get him out of there. And I didn't manage to do that.
And Cheick Kongo will be known as an elite striker as well. So just going into the fight, obviously game plans won't be given away in that sense. But what holes do you see in the game or something that you're looking to exploit on Cheick?
It's Cheick's he wrestles well. He's known as a good striker. He doesn't use his striking as much as he maybe used to. His ground game is efficient. I would say he's very experienced. So he knows what he needs to do to win rounds and how to win rounds to win fights. He's intelligent in that way. He doesn't do anything crazy. He doesn't go out of his way to make the crowd shout. He just does what he needs to do to win. As far as exposing any holes in his game, I don't think he's got any one glaring hole in his game. But just maybe you got to take him off of his pace. He tries to control the fight, and just got to take the control out of his hands.
And one thing that it's kind of interesting about the heavyweight division at the moment in Bellator is that the title has been vacant since, I believe, May, since it was stripped. Has there been any talk of title fights being matched, or is that something that you're looking at? Because there has been quite a while since any title fight for the heavyweight title has been up.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think if you're a Bellator heavyweight and you're amongst the group that can sort of realistically think about that, you can't help but think, there's an opportunity for somebody to take there. A Bellator 172, in my mind, I'm in a tournament, which is great, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. It's one fight as well. But the winner of me and Cheick Kongo has to fight the winner of Mitrione and Fedor.
Yeah. And is that obviously in regards to fighting, the allure of Fedor, is that something that, as a heavyweight you dream of, to get the opportunity to fight what many consider the greatest mixed martial artist heavyweight in the world of all time?
I would love to fight Fedor for the belt because I would like the belts.
Yeah.
To fight Fedor would be really cool because I'm told it's really cool. I'm not. It's cool for everybody else. You're fighting Fedor, but to me, I just want to win fights, and if I can win some credible belts and get paid, that's great. But having said that, it's a great time to fight Fedor. If you're going to fight him, fight the Fedor that comes out now, because he makes mistakes.
Do you think he's less of a fighter than now, like especially after watching his last fight in Russia? Do you think that maybe there's a lot more holes in his game at the moment?
Well, in that fight there was holes in his game for sure. I think anybody would have seen that. I wouldn't like to devalue Fedor based on a bad fight, because if you devalue me on my worst fight, you wouldn't give me much credit either. So I think I have to judge him the same way I want to be judged myself, and he's earned the right to be feared off his back, and he swings. He's not as controlled as he used to be. He's very much goes into sort of berserker mode and throwing a big hook and a big overhand, a big hook, and possibly isn't as smart in the way he goes about his fighting style these days. But it's Fedor Emelianenko. He's beaten the who's who of MMA over the years, and what a great way to win the belt than beating Fedor maybe. But having said that, Matt Mitrione is also a formidable heavyweight in today's Bellator division. And I would be more than happy to get in with Matt again after the last fight, where I felt like I had a lot of success up until the point where my energy was a bit lower.
And you think it's a different fight, obviously, with a full camp, specifically for Mitrione. You think the outcome would be different, or you try different things? You were saying your energy sapped. Would you try to adjust the game plan? I suppose you don't have to go gung-ho, as you alluded to earlier.
Yeah, well, I have to. When you're a short for the heavyweight division, you have to fight high energy. It's just how it has to be. You have to work twice as hard. You got to move your feet more. You can't just stand your ground. I was pretty sure that in terms of striking and boxing terms, that I would land on Matt, and I did land on Matt. I landed on Matt. Most things I threw landed on him. The thing is, it's very tiring to fight in the clinch and to fight in a wrestling type situation. And I think once we'd clinched up once early, I think Matt realised that actually he was better off clinching than fighting a long distance fight. And he started clinching me, and I didn't have the energy for that fight. So once I stopped moving, I was a sitting target, and he landed more shots at the end. But I mean, the big shots during the fight were landed by myself. And
talk about your background, because a lot of people know you're a former powerlifter. How did you adjust your training when coming to MMA? Because obviously the thing that people say is, guys who lift that way probably don't have as much energy. Did you have to change the way you lifted weights? Do you still lift as much as you used to lift?
No, I'm baby weights now. Yeah, the training changed a lot. I did strongman, so it's a bit different to powerlifting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it had to change a lot. I had to shift a lot of weight. I had to let a lot of muscle drop off. I had to drop my ego in the gym a little bit when I'm lifting weights. There's nothing impressive about my weightlifting maximum lifts anymore. Trust me, it's just very, very ordinary.
Is that something that you'd go back to at all?
Say again?
Is that something that you'd go back to after finishing MMA? Would you go back to the?
No, not a chance. Not a chance. I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun, and I built up a lot of trophies, and I had a lot of experience. But I like what I do now.
And is that something? There's a video going around. We shared it.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen it, of Tony Ferguson. He was
deadlifting.
He was deadlifting. You didn't come across that video, did you?
No, I didn't. No, what happened?
I'll have to show it, because you need to get a professional's look at it, because to me it looks like the most painful thing I've ever seen. So I don't know if you want to comment on exactly what's happening here and
what. See the screen there, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna.
Have you seen my video?
Which one?
My deadlift video.
I don't think so. We'll have to check it out.
That's a painful one on YouTube. Check that out.
Is that the one where you ruptured something or something like that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I actually did see that one. Yeah, that's very painful. Yeah, so here's the video now anyway, so you can it's kind of blown up on the internet at the moment, so
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so we'll just go back to the start and we'll play it. Okay. Yeah, so
I'm scared.
Yeah, look at
not looking good.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so that kind of blew up, and a lot of people are talking about it now on the internet, speaking like, is he going to have back pain in future? What would you recommend to Tony Ferguson in that situation?
Do you know what? It's like when I used to do deadlifts for the strongman competitions, I've never had a bad back, ever.
Yeah.
And my deadlifting technique was awful. Because, people would always say, you shouldn't lift like that because it's not... it's bad for your back, you're rounding your back.
Yeah.
But, we were training to lift awkward things where you got to lift in an awkward way.
Yeah.
And if you're lifting something, then you're getting stronger through lifting something. The better technique makes it more safe, and it also means you can be able to maximise your output and do a maximum weight. But lifting in every different manner will actually work, though.
That's fair enough. That clears it up.
Well, to Tony Ferguson, then he's doing a great job by all accounts.
No, I didn't endorse that, though.
There, you heard it here first, folks. Just something I always like to speak to guests when they come on as well, Oli, is what was your first experience with MMA? Like, what was the first thing that triggered that fire that made you go, I want to do this?
Well, I'm not. As much as I'd love to say I'm a really knowledgeable, long time MMA fan. I'm quite new to the game in a way. To be honest, I was doing strongman, and in my last year of doing strongman, a few of my friends have started doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And when I decided to retire from strongman, I needed a new sport, a new profession in my mind within 5 minutes. I needed to know what I was, what part I played in the world. I needed to know what my purpose was. So I thought to myself, I was sitting on a plane on the way back from World's Strongest Man in 2008, and I was sitting there thinking, right, I've retired now. What am I going to do? What sport am I going to do? And I went through every single sport in my head and thought, football, nah, I'm 29, not a chance. Rugby, maybe. but I'll probably end up just getting muddy and not getting paid. I thought about maybe some of the Olympic sports, throwing, shot putting, but it would have involved a lot of preparation. It might have amounted to nothing. I like all the athletics, and then I love boxing, but it would have taken me a lot of development time in a very specific sport to develop my skills. So whilst MMA was quite raw, and it was quite, and I've seen a few fights, and the heavyweight division's always not been as impressive as the others from what you see. And my stupidity and arrogance told me I can beat all them guys.
But did you find as well going in, with coming from the strongman background, that everybody was looking at you going, this guy's coming from the strong, you know what I mean? Was there an added pressure almost coming in with all the titles as strongman and everything wrapped around your neck?
There's always been an expectation that I'm going to get beaten up really badly. That's what I've found. Yeah. And I've been beaten up a few times, not really badly, but I never got beaten up badly when they thought I would when I started. You know, I think people underestimated what sort of athlete and person you're going to find in some of these competitions. I think that's fair to say. I know for myself, you know, I've always fared quite well no matter what I've done. To be being fair to myself, be it athletic, like long distance running, short distance power, I've always adapted, and I just had full belief in myself that, given time and developing a skill set, that I could compete with almost anybody that I come up against.
Well, that is essentially, it's hard work and dedication. Like I always find as well, a lot of athletes, it's almost like you don't take this the wrong way. It's almost like you suffer with OCD. Is it the way you said there when you finished Strongman? You literally said, what's next for me? What's next? What's my next thing? And it's almost like that. It's like an addiction to the guys who make it to the levels that you're at. It's that it becomes your obsession. It becomes everything. And you can see that. You can see that, and you know, with most athletes in that way. Is that fair to say in a drawn out way?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think everyone has their own slightly different motivations and ways they look at it. But yeah, the base element of what makes up their personality is going to be a common thing amongst athletes who can do maybe multiple sports or just do things very well and dedicate themselves and sacrifice things. You know, I've made countless sacrifices over the years to do strongman and to do MMA. In strongman, I didn't even make really any money. You know, in MMA, I get paid reasonably well these days, so that makes life a lot easier. But if I was going to just do things for financial incentive, isn't going to get you to where you want to get to. It can keep you there, but it ain't going to get you there, because when you're going to get there, you're not going to make any money. So you've got to have a greater need, or whatever that may be, to get to where you want to get to. I think a lot of it as well is feeding some things that certainly I need to make myself feel good. You know, so feeding this kind of internal ego that you have to just, not a crazy one for everyone else, but one you just have to deal with yourself in your own mind, to be satisfied and to be happy with yourself. And that's certainly something that I've always felt. I've always wanted to be stronger and faster, and that's kind of the thing that's made me a better person, to be fair.
Badass. I like that. Great answer. So I don't know if you're the prediction man. What's your prediction? 18th of February. What happens?
You want to know about my fight or the other fight?
Your fight. Fuck the rest of
them. In my fight, well, obviously I'm going to predict that I win.
Yeah.
I've trained very hard. I'm sacrificed. I'm sitting on the bed right now because I'm pretty shattered. So I'm making the commitment. I'm sure Cheick's making the same commitment. You're going to see two guys go in there and leave it all in there. Cheick's quite a hard guy to finish. You know, he's tough. We've seen what he can do. We've seen Pat Barry. We've seen, you know, he goes down and he recovers very soon as well. So you're gonna get your value for money off of him, and I've seen myself winning. I can see how I can win this, and I can see it being a hard night as well. So I'm preparing for that.
Well, I'm looking forward to tuning in. Thanks for taking the time to come on to us tonight. Look forward to watching the fight. Get it done, and we'll see you in the new year fighting Fedor or Matt for the title.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Thanks a million again. Cheers,
guys.
Good night. Take care. There you are. Oli Thompson there is not saying that Tony Ferguson's deadlift is good, but fuck it, so cool guy, interesting story, isn't he? With
very cool guy,
pretty cool,
Excellent.
So we're now actually going to go and get Lloyd Manning on, because we got shit sorted. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and I'm delighted to say we are now joined by 2-0, perfect record, fighting on Cage Warriors pretty soon. We might have an exclusive of who. So the owner of some pretty sharp finishes. Welcome to obviously Fight Talk, Lloyd "Chopper" Manning. Thanks, man, for coming on.
No bother, thanks for having me.
Again, like a lot of people, Lloyd, you are coming from a rich background, so it's something that I love to do. This isn't like my tagline, isn't it? I should use it. Something I love to do. Your family is very well versed in combat sports. So just speak to us as a young man growing up, how you got into violence, combat, let's say, or martial arts.
My dad was running the club in Macroom, and he just brought us along when we were about 4 years old, and we just kept going all the way through then. And then when I was about 15 and 16, I started going away, and then I moved away to do full-time training, just judo, and then it just went from there.
And that's it, like for a lot of people, like you've medalled many times in judo and sambo tournaments as well. So again, like it's not something hugely associated with young Irish men would be judo or sambo. And again, like it's how does it feel knowing that your dad could beat the bollocks out of every other dad on the street?
He's too nice to be doing that. Not many Irish fellas would be doing sambo anyway. I think I was the first to fight internationally at it, getting a fifth in the worlds and stuff like that. It's unheard of, you know. So I'm going to try go back again and do better at the lower weight class, because I got fifth at 74 kilos, so I want to go fight at 68 and see how I get on there.
Your contract is exclusive with Cage Warriors, is it?
Yeah.
So can you do that? Can you go grapple and do other stuff like that? Obviously you can't go fight somewhere else, but you can go grapple, no problem.
I think so, yeah. I don't think there's a problem with it. I'll tell Graham first anyway and see what he says or whatever, but I'm pretty sure he'd be like, yeah, no worries, once there's no fight in the way or whatever.
And just explain what sambo is, because as Noel said, it's not something that's really associated with young Irish fighters. It's more, come from a boxing background or even a jiu-jitsu background now. What exactly is sambo? Yeah,
it's much like freestyle wrestling, just with the kid on, except there's arm locks and leg locks then to finish the fight as well. But the points scoring is kind of similar to wrestling.
Do you think that's a good base for MMA?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Judo, it can be hit and miss, but sambo definitely, you get into wrestle, so and the groundwork is in it as well, so I think it's a good base, definitely.
A lot of people as well would be familiar with you. A different organisation. I'd like to talk about this as well. But you obviously fought in at BAMA 24 in the 3 Arena in Dublin, and you fought a young Frenchman called Nicolas Hutt, and you knocked him out. You folded him like a deck chair, as I like to say, with a stunning shot after 59 seconds of the first round. Just in regards to BAMA, okay, like we don't know the ins and outs of how contracts. So that's obviously a one-fight deal where you were in, and then you went off then and fought with Cage Warriors on the Unplugged card. But like that night alone, a lot went down. That was a night of highlights and a night of breakthrough for a lot of fighters as well. And did you feel maybe a little robbed of the highlight, because like you see articles about other fighters, and I'm not going to name fighters, but you see other articles about other fighters getting blown up and stuff, and there wasn't much about Lloyd Manning, even though you put in probably potentially knockout of the night there as well.
Yeah, I suppose but I can't complain either. No, it's just my first fight, so I don't know what can you say. You can't be telling people to be listening to you that early on, but if they can recognise a good knockout, then they know what they're watching fighting. But I guess the more you talk and stuff, the more you get watched. Maybe that's what it is.
And that's something it seems to be, doesn't it? It seems to be a new trend. We started talking about it earlier in the show as well, about when when lads come on and they spit and they talk, Chael is a great example of it. They get themselves in, but it's the quiet men that are the ones you have to watch out for. They're the assassins that do it. But do you almost feel that you have to talk a bit of shit to get the spotlight or to get the big fight?
It's what it looks like in some of the promotions anyway, but like if you just keep knocking people out, then they can't ignore you either. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not going to start calling people out now and doing stupid videos just for the sake of it, because I don't like that anyway. I just prefer going in there and fight.
And again, how did that come about with then Bama? So the big knockout happens in Bama. We work with a friend of yours here as well. He never stops talking about you. I was expecting when Bama was coming around again, I was expecting to see your name on the fight card, but it wasn't. But you were on another fight card that was pretty important night as well for MMA. The Unplugged. How did that come about? Like, did Bama speak to you after, or was it just you fought, you won, you got paid, you go home, and you didn't hear anything, and then Cage Warriors approached you?
I was contracted to fight with Bama, but the guy pulled out, and then there was just like a big mess then trying to get another fight, and then the MRI scans and stuff came up, so it was all over the place. And then they just said, just leave it. They said, so then Cage Warriors, I was talking to Grim, and then he gave me the opportunity to fight that night inside the B2 studios, and I couldn't turn that down, you know.
And the MRI scans are a big discussion in Irish MMA at the moment. Obviously, we think everybody agrees with that. Everyone should be, fit going in there. But you almost feel that it's difficult now to get fights in Ireland, or even, just get licensed for a fight in Ireland.
For me, it was then anyway. And then the last time before the Cage Warriors, even then, I was struggling to get the forms signed over here. So I can imagine, like, if you're an amateur and you're trying to do it as well, and you're not making any money off it, it's going to struggle, like, And
what do you mean by the form signed? Like, how come it took so long just to get forms going through?
None of the doctors or the people who did my MRI and stuff, none of them wanted to sign off on the form to say I was medically cleared fight. It was just because it said MMA on the form, they just refused to sign it. So we were all over the place trying to get that signed.
That's crazy. So the stigma, in a sense of that's insane. So you're in Cage Warriors, you're happy in Cage Warriors. What's the plan? Like, you're saying, I know a lot of people consider you one of the best in Ireland at the moment as well, and as you said, you're not going to make that much noise because you're only starting off 2-0, but you know what I mean, the featherweight division has a lot of big names in it, but you're struggling to get matched in that sense. So what's the plan with Cage Warriors? Have they given you almost like a platform, a couple of fights, a path to the title?
Haven't really spoken to them about like how will I get to the title or whatever, do you know what I mean? But like, I guess next fight's, I can't talk about that yet.
We nearly got him. Nearly got it.
But I suppose I just have to finish the next fight and then go from there. But I'm sure if I knock him out in the first round again, then it'll give me a good opportunity to call for a bigger fight or whatever,
And you did, after one of your interviews from your last fight, you did say that the goal for 2017, by the end of 2017, is the lightweight title. Do you still think that's a realistic possibility this year?
Yeah, definitely. After I get through this one, I can get another one and then see from there. Yeah. But I think it's definitely a possibility. If you finish everyone in the first round, then why not?
Yeah. One of the big things with Cage Warriors is now that it's on UFC Fight Pass. Do you see any kind of impact fighting on UFC Fight Pass? Do you see maybe your Twitter followers going up or anything like that? Do you see any kind of look from the UFC? Anything like that?
Not yet, anyway, but hopefully it'll come along quick. Not yet.
No, sorry, we're talking across you. Just looking at your record there as well, at the amateur, stage as well. You know what I mean? You've names on the list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you've ticked off. You know what I mean? As in the SBG killer, Joe McColgan, is on the list. You know, and a lot of people were calling for Joe to get on UFC when it was in Belfast. He's been calling out Dylan Dennis. He looked absolutely phenomenal against Peter Queally. But yet there you are. You have to win over him as well. Another top amateur here in Ireland as well, and someone I love to watch as well is the Irish Psycho and Tommy Martin as well. That's another big win, and that was by TKO, wasn't it?
Yeah, second round TKO.
Yeah, so you know what I mean. Like there's big names on that list as well, and like that's what I mean with Joe. Joe went away for a while, but he came back in devastating fashion as well, and people were really screaming for the UFC. So, but this is something as well though that we speak a lot with Rhys McKee about as well, Lloyd, is that you're not in a rush to get there. You know what I mean? You've time on your side, and you know I said the same with Paddy Plimper, who, you know, let's be honest, that's the targets on the back, and that's where you're aiming. I was delighted to see him stay with Cage Warriors and get more experience, the same way Tom Duquesnoy stayed with Bama and has now gone to the UFC. That's something that. Are you in a rush for that, or you know, are you know, obviously with the camp you're in, the voice of family, etc. Is that something to almost slow the cart down and let's just tick all the boxes before that call comes?
Not like I wouldn't turn it down anyway if it came calling. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say no to that. I'm actually going over Wednesday to Liverpool to train with Paddy and Chris and stuff over Next Gen, so I'll go see how they get on over there and stuff like that now. But if they came calling,
that ruins me next question. That ruins me next question, because I was about to say, what did you think of Pimblett's last performance? Because there was obviously a lot of criticism about it, and a lot of people thought he lost. What did you think of that?
Yeah, it was a close fight. Like I don't think he lost it though. Like I was there and it was tight. It was a tight fight. The other guy had a chance. He left it go, but I think Paddy won it on a tight decision.
Because I've been saying to the lads here for a long time when we were doing this, like, you got to watch Paddy Pimblett, lads. He's deadly. Paddy the Baddy is deadly. Now, in your pre-fight meal, do you have hot chocolates and Ferrero Rochers?
No, I haven't had it yet. I might try it though. It seems to work anyway, doesn't it?
Definitely does. You know what I mean? They're doing something right in Next Gen. So yeah, that's it. See, that's weird. This is something I suppose people don't see. You know, I like when you see fighters travelling to get experience and stuff. But there you are, essentially going to train with the king of your division at the moment. You know what I mean? He's the gold wrapped around his waist. So was that something we had Oli Thompson on just before you there, and he was speaking. He's fighting Cheick Kongo at Bellator, and he's saying we're good friends. So is that something that you can rule out? Like, a lot of fighters talk about the switch when they get in. Like, you know, some papers would have you believe that you're a savage doing this sport, you know? But, like, when you step into the cage, when you're stood across from a friend, is there a switch that can say, yeah, see you later, in 15 minutes we'll be best mates, but right now, no, you're in my way?
Like, it's just competition, you know what I mean? So that's all it is. It doesn't matter who's on the other side at the end of the day. It's a competition, and then it's over then after as well, you know. But we're not friends yet, so we'll see on Wednesday.
You never know. We could be a bollocks.
See what his hot chocolate is like.
On Facebook.
We'll send him this now if he's giving you any bad time. So like you coming up through the ranks at Irish MMA, you've seen it change and evolve a lot different. What's your standpoint on the footing of the young fighters like yourself coming up? You know, years ago when you used to go to the halls, like, I loved reminiscing. The lads just laugh at me because I'm old. But like, we used to go to the old sports halls and the plastic chairs and freezing cold and stuff like that. So like, you as a fighter coming up now with the likes of Bama, Cage Warriors, Bellator and all coming, well, like, what's it like, the landscape for a fighter and the opportunities ahead for you? As in, how's it changed? Yeah. You know what I mean? You see the path now, like, as in beforehand there wasn't really that.
Well, yeah, it's changed a lot. Like, there's even Cage Warriors and stuff, like giving amateur fighters and stuff, you know. It's not just small shows giving the amateurs a go, when then they can go there and get recognised too. So it's growing fast. Everyone can get a chance.
And has Boylan sent you a text back yet, has he?
Just check.
I feel like I'm on Sky News breaking news.
He's ignoring, he ignored us too.
Yeah, he ignored us too. Well, sure, look, we won't be out. We'll have to share it with you. So whenever you're fighting, we'll have you back when you win whoever you beat. And best of luck in next gen. Get stuck into him and let him know. Give him a mark early. So yeah, you remember that. It was great to call you in the fight. It was, like I said, your knockout, I wouldn't say it got overshadowed. It was just because so much happened that night. But it was phenomenal performance even. And again, at Cage Warriors Unplugged as well. Wish you the best of luck in the upcoming bout. Thanks for taking the time and figuring out Skype.
Thanks very much, man. It took my time, but I got it.
Yeah, fair play.
Next time we'll tell me all about technology.
we'll have you sorted. Right, you back. Listen, pleasure, Lloyd, and best of luck.
Cheers, man.
Thanks for taking the time. Cheers, me man.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
So there you are, and this is something that we like to do on obviously Fight Talk as well, and I love it. Like, it's great when you have the likes of your Stephen Quattros and your Robin Blacks, and we love having that. But I love talking to the likes of Lloyd Manning. Is an absolute beast, lads, when he's watching fight. And the likes of same with Dylan Took, same with the lads. I love talking to the local guys. Well, fair enough, he's Cork.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're local, we're Little Island. I love having lads on and getting the conversation like that. And
because to be fair, there's not a huge amount of platforms for the fighters, the young fighters in Ireland to really talk and stuff like that. It's usually like post-fight interviews, that kind of stuff. So it's nice just to talk and get a bit of background, because who would know like that Lloyd was like a high level Sambo fighter?
Oh yeah, and he's multi medals. Like, exactly. You know what I mean?
Let's bring Carl back in.
For any of the American people that are listening to us, we will get subtitles. You must be really fucked listening to me with me big Dublin accent and then Lloyd breaking out the Cork there for you.
Yeah.
So we try to give the Mova Heady, Stephen Mova Heady a call there. See you, Stephen. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on. We're going to talk about a little bit about UFC Fight Night, Carl. Ooh. It's going down in Denver, and this card is sort of flown under the radar a little bit in so many ways. A lot of people aren't told. Do you want to edit here, or do you want to keep going away?
I'm going to get Danny to call us.
Danny
Mova Heady.
Danny.
We're calling them different things now. No?
All right, yeah. Boy, we're there as well. Actually, speaking about fights on the shore now. Jeez, I tell you. Bama Bellator. Bama are doing a lot of the announcements. There's been some serious announcements, some great fights. The card's looking great. Just flicking through them here. Oh yeah.
Sure. Why don't you share?
Well, I'm trying to. Just my eyesight is absolutely horrendous. You've Norman Park against Paul Redmond. Obviously, it's the main event. You've Wooding versus Young for the title as well. You've Mann versus Lapalos. Lapalos was, remember the knee that Dan reviewed here. Then you've Reese McKee is taking on Magic Miles Price. Fletcher is fighting as well. Colin Fletcher, I call him Carl Fletcher. Carl Fletcher is for fucking
You're live, Dan. You're live.
There he is. Hey, Dan.
You're live.
How we doing?
Getting a bit of growth back as well. You don't look as
a little bit.
You don't look like Stephen as much anymore.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. He's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
That's a nice.
It's nice.
So Dan, we're coming in. We're going to talk about UFC Fight Night. Are we allowed to stick it up there? I don't know. Legally wise, are we allowed to stick the card up? So Dan, you can stick it up there yourself if you want on your computer. So
we are, but no, we'll leave that on the screen.
So it goes down this week. So this is your main event of the evening is Valentino Shevchenko taking on Juliana Pena. It's good to see the Carl. I'm going to let you take this. You love when the women headline and the women get a bit of spotlight on them. So take it away.
Very good fight. Very, very good fight. Juliana Pena, she was obviously looking for the Rousey fight.
Yeah,
she pissed off. I believe she said she has something like, if you're including tough, she has like 8 victories under the UFC banner. And that would be, I assume, the longest running win streak in the women's 135 division.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, but either way, 8 fights. Obviously, some of those would be, what's the word? They're not competitive matches. Yeah, they're not competitive matches. Like some of them were on tough, but she still had to beat the girls that were around her.
Yeah, exactly.
And Juliana Pena, she's a very, very good fighter. And Valentina Shevchenko, 2 very, very different styles. Shevchenko really that slick Muay Thai striking. In her last fight against Holly Holm, she put a beating on Holm. You would have expected Holm to walk over it, and she just showed how good her striking is.
It's crazy,
this is a real fight of styles. It is the Muay Thai striker versus the jiu-jitsu grappling wrestler. So I'm looking forward to it. It's a really good event. Again, it's similar, we just who can get the takedown, who can avoid the takedown.
Yeah.
So it should be a good fight, and they're two of the best girls in that division. So it should be really, really competitive.
Number 1 contender fight?
Has to be. Yeah.
100%.
Dan?
Me? Yeah. Front of the deep end, huh?
Dan, you're not watching the podcast on YouTube. You're actually on the podcast right now.
That's the one. Well, yeah. Julia Pena, her ground game is great. The question is, like you said, when Valentina fought Holly Holmes, again, Holly Holmes is a stand-up fighter. So, did she have to worry about the takedowns of Holly Holmes? Most probably not. But for Julia Pena, she will have to. And I think Pena wins this. She's definitely got to be in the running for the title. And if I was to predict how she'll win, I reckon a guillotine.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put it out there, guillotine first round.
Put your bets on. Yeah, I love this fight. I think it's definitely a number one contender fight. And I think it'd be interesting if Valentina wins, because we remember the fight that she had with Nunes, and the first 2 rounds Nunes definitely won, but she faded in that third. She couldn't finish her in the first or second, because Valentina is very, very tough to finish, and she's a very good striker. So if that fight happens again, it's 5 rounds.
Yeah, it's a different story.
I mean? It's a different story, and obviously Valentina will be coming off then two wins over 2 good girls. So yeah, this is a really interesting fight. There's obviously some other fights that we'll talk about as well, but I really, really like this fight. Don't know who's going to win. I'm leaning towards Valentina, because I think she's really improved her grappling. If it goes to the ground, it's going to be a huge edge for Pena. But yeah,
Pena. What stands out for me with Pena was, I remember when we were doing the Katsugano fight, I picked Katsugano because I was the same. And but Pena came out and completely flipped.
She dogged it, didn't she? She's really aggressive.
I always say MMA fans are fickle. You know what I mean? But our minds can change so quick. But she rubber stamped for me that she's an absolute beast, absolute killer. For fight reasons, sounds stupid because it is a fight, but for reasons, styles make fights and all that sort of stuff, I'd like to see Valentina win and get another shot. Rematch, yeah, because I just think, like you said, she couldn't get put away. I just like her striking style. Yeah. I think it's a good digging match. Yeah. With the odd kick thrown in. But if you ask me to back it, I'd say put your money on Pena.
Yeah, grapple.
The grappling, she just
5 rounds, isn't it?
Yeah,
it would be.
Yeah, she just, and I just think she's got an engine to go. I don't think she'll get tired.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, Amanda Nunes is an amazing grappler.
Yeah.
So you could see, even if Pena wins this fight, you could see an amazing grappling match in that title fight.
Yeah. And Pena's tough as well.
Yeah, she's very tough. So either way, I think whoever wins this fight, if they get their title shot, and I think they should get their title top, then
remember that? No. Don't remember that? No. Oh, it's amazing.
I think that's like the second time.
Thiago Alves. He made this joke before.
This is the second time I've done this joke.
Yeah, so if you don't know, right in Shile Tot UFC, Thiago Alves in the cage, and he says, I want my Shile Tot.
I've fallen for that twice. That's twice as well today. You caught me. You said me something else about Joe Rogan or something as well, and I fell for it when we weren't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dan, they're a bunch of bullies. What were you saying anyway? You want your title shot, and then we got distracted.
So either way, I think either girl gets their title shot. Either way, it's going to be an exciting fight.
Now title shot sounds weird.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, should be good.
Your co-main, what a fight. My man, Mr. Donald Cowboy Cerrone, taking on some bloke called George Masvidal. Some
George Masvidal.
Don't know who he is. What do you think of this? Cowboy 170 again.
This could have been a main event fight in itself. I mean, especially it's a quick turnaround for George Masvidal after what happened with Jake Ellenberg. With again his foot stuck in the cage. But
what is it?
Jorge.
Is it Jorge? Huh? It's fucking Jorge apparently, not George.
Yeah. No.
That's a nice.
You look so confused.
Hey, listen, this fight is interesting because, after, especially with Cowboy, again, he loves quick turnaround.
Yeah.
But Masvidal, he can bang. I reckon he's, for this fight, I think Cowboy might come just a little bit unstuck. Yeah. I love the guy, I'll never pick against him. With this one, I can see Masvidal just letting his hands go, and he's good with his kicks. And Cerrone just takes him, especially his last fight, he showed a little bit that he can get caught and just starts off just a little bit slow recently. Yeah. Whether he's taking too many fights too quickly, Who knows, you know? But Masvidal can cause some serious upset here. He's been in wars. He's got a great ground game as well. So it'll be interesting. And for one, I think this time around, I think I will have to go Masvidal if I was to pick.
This is a nice card, isn't it? It's a really nice little card, but I do like this fight as well. I think, for me, Masvidal, he's that type of fighter who kind of fights to their level. You know, if he's fighting somebody who's at a lower level, he'll fight to that level. He's fighting someone at a higher level, he'll fight to that level. Doesn't usually beat the best guys, so that's why I'd have to side with Cerrone. But this could be a really good striking match. I don't see it going to the ground. Masvidal doesn't really like going there. Cerrone goes there when he has to. I don't think he's going to want to go there. So this could be a really, really good.
Cerrone's mixed it up a little bit with takedowns of late
true.
as well.
But you know, if somebody wants to stand with him, he'll usually do it. But it's a very, very good fight.
It's
I like it.
In my mind, it's a fight of who can break who in the striking.
Yeah.
And these two men are very, very fucking, you know, they're very forward. They know exactly what they want to do. And good luck. Like, it's going to be an absolute war because none of these people, obviously no fighter wants to lose, but these two guys in particular strike me as very driven, I suppose. And I think it is going to be who can break who in the striking. I would give the edge technically to Cerrone. Technically I'd give it to Cerrone. He can be a bit more technical, and it's not even that Jorge Masvidal is a brawler. Masvidal is very, very technical, but I just think Cerrone is a bit more
technical.
Yeah, that's why I tried not to say it again.
Technically.
So, but
that sounds like Mike Goldberg's. Anderson Silva's precision is precise. Technically, he's more technical.
Pull the Goldie.
Taking a book from Chuck Liddell's chapter.
Yeah. But I miss Goldie. He's only gone and he already missed him.
Sure, the new commentator is virtually identical.
It's gas. But I just think I'd give Cerrone the edge simply because of what you said, is that Masvidal tends to match fighters, but I'd put that down to he tends to coast sometimes.
Sometimes,
he is a very good fighter, and he's beaten a lot of really good fighters, but he can just sometimes he can coast, and I think Cerrone has too much in him right now that Masvidal is going to find it a little bit tougher to beat him. He's a lot more confident. I think the weight is much better for him. And something to what you said, Noel, a few minutes ago, is that he's mixing it up a lot more. His takedowns to his striking, and it used to be, it's like GSP in reverse. GSP used to use the striking to get to the takedown, and then he'd kind of mix it up. Whereas in this, it looked like from Cerrone's last few fights, he's using his takedowns to put that second thought into his opponent, so he makes them basically not want to throw as often, and he's able to light them up.
So he's like PSG.
Yeah, he's like basically. PSG.
I'm a big fan of Cowboy at 170. I just think he looks bigger, stronger, even faster at it. He just doesn't look.
He's definitely bigger and stronger.
But he doesn't.
Fuck you.
He is.
He just doesn't. He doesn't look. He doesn't look like he tires. He doesn't. He just looks more efficient at the weight class, and he looks strong. Like his strikes that he's landing.
There's one thing I will say though. I do think that if it's gonna be a finish, I'd probably pick Masvidal to get the finish. Interesting enough, I don't think Cerrone will be. I don't think Masvidal will get knocked out. But do you remember that? I don't know who it was against, but Masvidal got dropped really hard, and he was 100% he was knocked out and woke back up when he hit the floor, and the fight continued. I think he's really tough to fight, tough to finish. But it would be a submission. I think if Cerrone's going to finish it, it'd be a submission. But honestly, if you had to back, who gets the finish, I'd back Masvidal to finish Cerrone by like a body kick or something like that. Cerrone
disagree. I just is another one. Is this a number one contender spot as well?
No,
not
for Masvidal anyway.
Yeah, well.
Maybe
wins, that's 5 in a draw.
Maybe for Cerrone. I wouldn't count on it, but definitely not for Masvidal.
Right, grand, whatever. Go fuck yourself. Other notables, my pick for stand for the big outbreak of the year is going to be Ngannou is taking on Andrei Arlovsky. I get the same feeling in this fight that I was getting for Yair Rodriguez, BJ Penn, and it's not like It's just I just think Arlovsky is just he's there to be. He's won his last couple of fights. I think he's dropped his last couple though, has he? But he's had big wins. He's had some big wins of late
up
as
and
well.
down, up and down.
The Travis Brown fight was mental because he could have lost it. Yeah, he's 3 on the skit.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And I just think Ngannou will just land. If Ngannou lands, he'll knock out Arlovsky and he'll knock out John Jones. Like he hits like he'll knock out a few of the camp if he lands. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think Arlovsky is getting hit in these last few fights. He is getting hit and he's getting finished.
Yeah.
And I just think Ngannou first round stoppage potentially inside the first minute.
Yeah, but it's coming to that era again, isn't it? Like these fighters who that from back in the day, it's all catching up with them, isn't it? Like especially, he's had 3 fights in 2016 on Joe Arlovsky, and he's lost all 3, and 2 of them being TKOs. Yeah. Pardon me, and one of them submission with Josh Barnett. And all right, he's 2 previous wins, Travis Brown and Frank Mir, great 2 guys to beat. But then all of a sudden, again, it just seemed to caught up with him, and the guy he's fighting. He's only got 1 loss on his record, and that was like since 2014 or 13.
And he's a nightmare.
And he's a beast. You know, he is a beast. And if anything, the guy he's fighting, he hasn't got much to lose. If he loses, I can say, look, he lost against a former champion, Andre Arlovsky. Okay, get back on track. It'll only be his 2nd loss. Whereas if Andre loses, where does he go from here? You know?
That's
Bellator.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Sorry, all right. Sorry. I thought you were asking where did you go. All right,
Cheeky fucker.
But where do you go from? And it's all good. Everyone's changing camps. So you've been training Greg Jackson's, etc. It doesn't. If your mind might be saying you're there, but if your body can't do it, then it's hard, isn't it? Yes, that's the one. That's the line.
Once a show, we do it. Yeah. Look at him on the camera.
It's proper dad or
It is, yeah. I don't think that too much to add to that. I think Francis Ngannou is going to knock him out in the first. I just think Arlovsky's chin, he's questioned it like 5-6 years ago. He's looked actually pretty good when he got back to the UFC. He made a bit of a comeback.
He had a bit of a purple patch where he got
he had a bit of a resurgence, but no. And the next one I really like.
No.
Alex Caceres, your man, versus Jason Knight.
Yeah.
I like Alex
I
Caceres.
like Alex. I like him. I just like the fact that he's unpredictable.
Yeah.
Like, he's always exciting.
Yeah.
Some people might say sloppy. I don't know. I just think it's fun.
Yeah.
It strikes me as like he's like the ground version of Leonard Garcia.
I think Alex Caraway, Bruce Leroy, whatever he calls himself. I think he's my Brian Caraway.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's just there's no rhyme or reason for it. You just can't stand
I just don't like him. When he wore the yellow tracksuit with the black stripe, I just thought, who's this cunt?
Yeah.
I know, but I was like, who's this cunt? What? I just don't like him.
That's fair enough. You don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to like him. Yeah.
You don't have to.
Hope Jason Knight batters him.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I just think any fight that Alex Caceres is in is always fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Whether he wins or loses.
He's only agreeing to annoy me. Look,
not
in the slightest.
But he's not a finisher, though, is he? He's not a finisher.
No, not really.
He tries to go decision. And
What's wrong with that?
But also, there's nothing too bad with that. You don't necessarily have to be a finisher to be exciting. You know what I mean?
I always finish.
Then again, it took Yoel Rodriguez decision, didn't he? So
yeah.
What are you saying, no?
No, I said when he said he can't. We were talking about finishing. I said I always finish early, and well before due time. I just don't like him. I really don't like him. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it.
I like him, but Jason Knight is a decent prospect, and I think he's coming off a win. Daniel Hooker, who's an awkward guy, similar-ish, not really similar fighter, but awkward.
Similar-ish, not really a similar fighter.
He's an awkward fighter, throws some weird stuff, and it's an interesting one. Other fights in the card that's interesting.
Notables, yeah.
Nate Marquardt, Sam Alvey.
Do you know what? Nate,
I wouldn't be surprised if Sam Alvey just exploded Nate Marquardt's head.
Yeah,
because
Nate Marquardt is
chinny as fuck.
Yeah, he is now. But do you know what? Alvy's not like a crazy knockout artist.
I thought he was serious.
Yeah, Nate Marquardt is getting knocked the fuck out in this one. I won one back.
Do you know what happened? You went full surprised black guy. That was brilliant.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Marquardt's getting murked. What else stands out to you on the card there, lads? Your notable mention.
I'm just going down the card, and there's some really good. Rafael Sunsao versus Algie Sterling.
Just looking at it, Aljamain Sterling.
Jesus, what a fight!
Yeah, Aljamain Sterling coming off a loss, I believe.
Yeah, so was the
Brian
Sunsao.
Caraway.
Yeah, and Sunsao. Let's not go back into that.
Yeah.
And a Sunsao coming off a loss
Pass
to
the card,
TJ
pass
Dillashaw. That's it. That's an amazing fight. That puts whoever wins that fight puts them right back into like the top 6-ish of the divisions.
upper echelon for sure.
There.
So yeah,
Top 5 wasn't acceptable. The top 6-ish.
Yeah, can't put them in the top 5. Yeah.
I actually haven't looked at this card up until today.
No, but it's really up until like we opened
literally
it up.
right now. And I'm going through it and being surprised.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, as well, John Phillips had to pull out due
Yeah.
to injury. John Phillips was due to make his debut there as well, so that was a bit of a letdown from this side of the pond.
That's 2 fights now that he's had to pull out.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Well, he was injured this time round.
What is his injury? Do we know? Was it
I'm not too sure. Yeah, I was just seeing John Phillips at the
general injury.
withdrawal,
Just
Yeah,
general.
just injured.
Yeah.
But like the man is a wrecking ball, like
Yeah,
absolute
yeah.
fucking wrecking
Monster.
ball. Dan, I want to get now. I'm not going to drag you into it, right, Dan? Because I know whatever you're going to be working at the top of the chain and you don't want to say things. No, I'm not going to lead you down a certain garden path. But just from the standpoint, you might have guessed where I'm leading. Chael Sonnen, Tito Ortiz, right?
You won't let this go.
No, because we have Dan. Dan's a world class referee.
We literally argued about this for about half an hour.
Dan, if you were the referee, have you seen the footage of the tap?
I have of what? Of the tap?
Yeah.
Do you know it's not the best footage? I don't know. I watched it again. I saw someone put something go, I did Tito tap.
I did!
He tap. Yeah. I'll be honest. First you watch it, you go, yeah, maybe he did. And then I look at it, yeah, did he tap? Didn't he tap? I don't know. It wasn't a clear tap enough for John McCarthy to step in.
Would you have stopped it?
Sorry?
Would you have stopped it?
But I wouldn't have seen it if I didn't see it on the screen. I don't know if
Well, if you were there and you seen it,
Get Sam Aheady on the phone now. Get him on. Sam is with me. Sam said that was a tap. Yous are a bunch of fucking bullies. Yous are all just out to get me. Tito tapped like a bitch.
Jesus, respect your elders.
Same thing. People going, was Chow? He could have defended that rear naked choke. Look, we don't know what pressure.
Chael tapped like a. No, I like Chael.
Huh?
He's getting too.
You don't know what pressure was on his back, what he was doing. Arguably, I think he could have actually had a bit more hand fight there, pushing the elbow, pulling down on the chin. Maybe he did give up a little bit too easy, but we don't know, man. We don't know what pain he was going through. But one thing I will say, Tito did hold on a little bit longer than what he should have.
Yeah, what did you think of that, John? Did John McCarthy landed the best shot of the fight by pushing Tito's head down?
Yeah, exactly. The hand on the throat and just push it away. Yeah, he made him release quick, didn't he? So.
Don't fuck with John McCarthy. No. So the real question, Dan, is who would win in a fight, you or Big John McCarthy?
Who would win in a fight?
Yeah.
Big John.
He's so modest.
Listen.
Until you say that, and then you gotta fucking stab you. You fucking can't.
I love when we go off the rails at the end. So that's obviously Fight Talk. We like to thank MMAMix.com. They're obviously good because we're obviously Fight Talk. Well done, Daniel. And obviously as well, we'd like to thank Fight Store Ireland for all your MMA needs. The Fighter's Choice. Check them out. Everything you need under one roof. One roof.
Yeah.
Everything. Us talk fight underscore. No. Yeah. Talk underscore fight
on Twitter.
Obviously
Fight Talk on Facebook.
And everywhere. And look, listen, give it a like, give it a subscribe.
Give it a share.
Watch back.
Share.
Yeah, share shit.
Share this.
Your
Share everywhere.
man dad always told you to share, so fucking share.
Share.
Yeah, look back at the old stuff. Like the great stuff. Sting Watcher was on last week, Robin Black on before, Dan breaking down, doing Referee's Corner. Check it out. Share it well. Look.
Yeah. There are advertisers.
Yeah.
People who watch and listen, that's our
word of mouth. Yeah, and welcome to the new
mouth.
listeners that are joining in and
saying
it. So look, that was 51. Love Skype. Doesn't mess you around and keep you here late.
Fucking hell.
So say your good nights.
Good night.
Dan.
Good night.
So long.
Farewell.
It's time to say goodbye.
Anyway, this is getting weird. Peace.